Hello and welcome to the Cow Corner Dugout. Today we're discussing on, of course, April 2nd, 2011. The first thing that comes to mind is that promos of the movie Dum Maru Dum were actually being done on April 2nd, 2011 at the Wankhede Stadium. And of course, it's a huge event for India. India won the World Cup 15 years back. I can't believe time has flown by, and it's an interesting time of our lives. I think we need to ask ourselves, what were we doing then, where were we watching the match? And this time we would like this to be a lot more social. Over the last 3 days, I've seen a lot of comments keep coming in, and they add a lot of flavor. So if you're watching this on Twitter or on YouTube, please feel free to comment. And if you're watching this on Twitter, we're on YouTube as Cow Corner Dugout. So whatever you comment comes here, and then we're going to have like a conversation around what are your memories of the 2011 World Cup, the World Cup that kickstarted a lot of the economy for Indian sports, since India won that World Cup in 2011 after winning the World Cup 28 years back in 1983. So joining today with me to talk about that is Amit from Bangalore and Indusan from Colombo, so that now we have equal representation. I'm just the moderator. You have somebody in India jersey, you have somebody in a Sri Lanka jersey, but definitely not the jerseys of the 2011 World Cup, but good enough representation for the, for exactly the cricket fan. I'm like, black color neutral jersey, not even a jersey, it's just my gym shirt.
Oh, I thought it's a Kiwi. I thought it's a Kiwi jersey.
Yeah, you could actually say that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it would make Hindustan happy, who calls himself the Lankan Kiwi fan. But that said, I think I'm going to first go to Amit and ask you, what were you doing at that point of time in 2011? Where were you watching the match April 2nd, 2011 from?
So we'll talk about the whole World Cup, right? Or only the finals?
Well, we start with the finals, and then
Correct.
we can talk about the World Cup, and I think we'll get to the finals.
So that was like a very interesting time in my life. So I was in my final year of college. It was like last year we watched the World Cup with all the gang, like 15, 20 people. I still remember like our college, the semi-finals day with Pakistan, which we played. It was a Saturday or some, I think Friday. I don't remember the exact day, but it was Friday or Saturday, and we had classes that day. And especially they cancelled all the classes and screened the semis in the Audi, so that everyone in
Oh,
the college can come and watch. It was a 4,000 seater Audi in Bits Pilani. So
wow.
yeah, we watched that in the Audi, and the finals again when we won the semi-finals was again screened in the Audi. So it was,
I
yeah.
think the finals were on a Sunday, April 2nd.
Final was Sunday, yeah. I think semis was
The
on either on
semi-finals
Thursday or
was
Friday.
30th. 30th. So it was a Thursday. Because I
Right,
remember watching that from my office, and I saw Umar Gul being hit for 6 fours. And
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember going like berserk, saying, "What the hell just happened?" And people were looking at me saying, "Why is this guy reacting so much?" And I
Right.
said, "Sorry, I need to get home." And then I immediately went. I remember my manager was not very happy. He's like, "How can you prioritize cricket over work?" And he didn't know that I was a photographer for the 2011 World Cup. I was working in an IT job
Oh,
in
wow.
Chennai. I was working for Cognizant in Chennai, and I had this. I think I won some contest, so they said, I had a all access pass to anywhere in Chepauk. So I went for all the 4 games in Chepauk. I was a crowd photographer, not a field of play. This thing, pretty much the same thing that I do now without being paid, clicking photos and pictures of people that are at this thing. But it was fun, where I had to, in between a game, shoot 20 photos, go to the F stand in Chennai, and then use an FTP, upload the photos to Castrol cricket site, and then come back and take photos. So I was basically reliving that whole World Cup. I've been to all of Chennai's games, but I did not have access to go for. I don't think I even had the confidence to go to another city because I had no clue on where to go book tickets and stuff.
Yeah,
But
same.
that was what I was doing in 2011. I was working, and I was probably 28 years old. It was 28 years. I was born in 1983, so I was born when India won the World Cup, and at 28, India won the World Cup again. But what were you doing in the sun?
So it was like I joined my first job in 2010, right? When I was like 19, just before my 20th birthday, I joined there. And this was my second day. I was still on a training period. And this is the first World Cup I watched from my own money. I actually went to watch Sri Lanka versus Australia, and it got washed off. Right, I couldn't
Right.
get tickets for the other matches. And the final I was watching because back then I was doing a chemistry degree on weekend, and I work in a bank as a clerical staff from Monday to Friday. So all 7 days I was occupied. This particular day, I skipped my lab sessions, lectures, and everything, and came and watched the World Cup final. But I was watching all through and throughout all the matches. Because in the banks they have a TV for customer service. So post customer service hours, I used to watch the matches while I was working and wrapping up my work, balancing my cash counter, and all these things. So it was a really one hell of a World Cup for Sri Lanka, and I was super proud that I was not paid well those days. Like you only get a training allowance for like 2 years, so I was in the second year. But I saved some money and I just went there to watch a match. And I remember I was wearing a jersey, the World Cup jersey as well. I lost it because it's been some time, and so I'm sure that I lost it somewhere. But it was a very very memorable World Cup, and the in the unbelievable or unforgettable moment for me when Sachin got out. I had a neighbor, so he
Yeah.
married to a Sri Lankan lady. He's actually from Chennai, so he's an Indian, so he married to a Sri Lankan lady. He came, he actually rang the calling bell, and I was going there, and he said like, no, congratulations on winning another World Cup. He did that. I was like, oh my god, is it finally happening? It didn't.
Right.
So you are a, I want to tell you this. You are a Kamal fan, right? There's a film that he did, Manmada Nambu, where he speaks about
Manmata
his
Nambu.
wife's death. Yeah, so where he speaks his wife's death to Trisha, he says, "Doesn't hurt me anymore. I've told these stories many times, so it doesn't hurt me anymore. I'm used to it." So this World Cup is pretty much like that to me. So this experience is pretty much like that to me.
Got it. I remember Manmata Nambu as a very travel-centric movie shot in Europe.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
In
that
the
is how
cruise.
we also forget November 19th by telling it again and again.
Yeah.
So that's the way you do. That's how you do, right?
But it's interesting that you mentioned that you were in that phase where you're looking forward to the World Cup and final. But sticking just to the World Cup final, I have a question here. And meanwhile, if somebody is still is watching us on the pod, there are 20 of you who are watching us. Please do send in your questions to me on Twitter or to the podcast on Cow Corner podcast on YouTube if you're watching it live there. We'd love to have comments. We want to see what were people doing at that time of the 2011 World Cup final, or even during the World Cup. Which stage of life were you in? I remember watching the World Cup final with a very close friend of mine. He and I were just, I think, watching it at my house, and I think the whole day we were like very. It's like Chennai is a very warm place to be in April, and I remember switching the AC on and just 8 hours of just focused cricket watching, of course, with food and beverages that we were there that were accompanied that day. But yeah, I think I for one, I wasn't really very sure if India would win the World Cup. Like I remember when India went into the World Cup, it was a kind of an indifferent side. You knew the side had strength because when the side went into the 2011 World Cup, just before, India lost an ODI series versus South Africa. I remember seeing
Right.
the fifth game of that. Yusuf Pathan scored a century. I was, of course, somewhere in Goa watching it from a hut, saying Yusuf Pathan almost scored it. I realized that India as a team are very good at home conditions because India had beaten most of the sides that had come home. We had just beaten New Zealand 5-0, and I had been for one of the games from office, which got over very early. I think New Zealand got out for some 105 and India chased it in 20 overs. So I knew India was very strong at home. But I knew that they were also not very good when it came to crunch games against good quality oppositions. So to me, when the India qualified for the World Cup, the knockout stages, their last game was in Chennai, India versus West Indies.
West Indies. Yeah.
And West Indies was all set to win that game. They were like 150 for two, chasing 268. And Devin Smith was then bowled by Zahir Khan, and that started a collapse. But till then, I had not entertain hopes of India winning the World Cup because I had been to the game in Bangalore. I was living back in Chennai, so I remember coming by train to Bangalore, watching that Tide game. Because I booked a ticket initially in Kolkata, and I thought, okay, let me go see a match in a new city. I hadn't yet done that. I had, I think, briefly been to an IPL game in Mumbai in 2008. So I thought 2011 I'll go to Kolkata. And the day I was to go and book my tickets in, and those days IRCTC was there but not very dependable. I went to a physical center to go book a printed ticket. The moment I'm going there, I hear the news that Kolkata as a venue has changed. So in between, I just handed over that ticket writing slip where you write in pen saying where do you want to go from and all that. I said, no, ma'am, I'm canceling this thing. I'm not going to Calcutta right now. So, and then I realized the match was going to happen in Bangalore. And Bangalore is, of course, it feels like another air-conditioned part of Chennai. I don't see it as a different city. And I remember coming to Bangalore, and that game, tight game, also made me realize that, boss, it's India as a side don't have the fielding depth, nor do they have the bowling depth because they underdue. India are not that great. And I thought, okay, I really didn't expect India to get to the finals because our first hurdle was playing them in Ahmedabad in playing Australia in Ahmedabad. We won it and it was a great chase. Then
Yeah.
Pakistan happened, and then we came to the final. So I think at each stage it was like the belief slowly increased. But even with Sri Lanka in the final, I never expected outright to go and say India will win. What was your thought, Amit?
So yeah, so the match you were talking about, the India West Indies at Chepauk, I was like, so if you remember, I think the points table, if we had won that match, like which we won, we finished second, and Australia by then had finished third in the other group. So we were supposed to play Australia had we won that match, which happened in the quarters. And had we lost that match, we would have mostly finished fourth, and then we would have played Pakistan in the quarters. So I don't know, like I remember still hoping that it's fine if we lose this, and it's better to face Pakistan. But because by then Australia has never lost a match in I think 2099 World Cup, 2003 World Cup, 2007 World Cup, and it was like like very difficult. Like Australia will definitely beat us. So I was hoping somehow like let's lose this match and face Pakistan in the quarterfinals. But then yeah, we won that, and that Australia match, I think that was a match which I really started believing that we can win this World Cup when we beat that Australia, especially that Yuvraj knock and that Raina knock at the end. That was like two big things when I thought like, yeah, this time we can win because that match was I think very important.
Yeah,
Like,
for us, I think if we are able to get past Australia in an ICC tournament, then the tournament opens up to us magically. That's
yeah.
probably what's happened also, right? In 2000, whenever we won a World Cup, I think we've beaten Australia
And
on
I
our
think this is
way.
a stat for every team. Like no team has ever won a World Cup without beating Australia.
Right.
Like any World Cup you see, they have to beat Australia to win the World Cup. From
Yeah, I think that's
75
like
to 2023.
so it's like a frontier of sorts. And talking about
Yeah.
Australia, we have a comment from an Australian fan from Banaswadi. Santosh Udupa says one standout game in that World Cup was the low-scoring thriller between England. Okay, Santosh, I'm sorry, you're not from Banaswadi. You stay in Uttarahalli, so I got that correct. It was a low-scoring thriller between England and South Africa at Chennai. I was there for that game. What a close game that was. I was watching it from the Anna Pavilion, which is now what is KMK Lower. Those days, those seats were accessed. I could sit anywhere because I had that photographer pass. But Poms were in a tough spot. I think he meant Poms. Poms were in a tough spot coming to the game. But in that World Cup, I somehow felt England was very off those years in 2011 and in 2015.
Yeah.
As an ODI side, even though Andrew Straw scored like a 150 odd, 158 against India, I
Yeah.
think England's chances in that World Cup, they were like a very, very average, ordinary side. And I think coming to that England part, I'm going to ask that question to Indusan because Sri Lanka beat the hell out of England in that chase. I remember Upul Taranga and Tilakratne Dilshan, they had a 10-wicket victory versus England. And did it kind of, was it a sense of deja vu? Because England again got beaten like that in 1996 and Sri Lanka went on to win the World Cup back in 96. Well, I remember
Yeah, I
Jaiswal
mean,
scored 80 odd in 50 balls, smacking, defrators and whoever were the bowlers there. What was, where were you in that game? Did you go to the stadium or was it for watch on
no,
TV?
I mean, I didn't get ticket for any quarters or semis, and as you correctly said about your travel and everything. Then back then, I also don't know where to go and get tickets. So this was like SLC had a physical store, so I had to rush back during the lunch hours of my work because you are eligible to take 1 hour lunch, but we never take. So I have to rush back there, and I have to like get one ticket and come, because I don't know no one known to me was coming. And then I came back. People said like, I would have come. I would have come. So I said, okay, no, can't help, because I went and got a ticket for the semis and quarters and everything. No, because it was an ambiguity whether Sri Lanka will play their semis and quarters in Sri Lanka. If you remember, during this group game, for no reason, Sri Lanka had to fly back to Mumbai and play New Zealand there and come back. And I was like wondering, if it is India, it's okay. Why we have to go to Mumbai to play New Zealand? Because we are co-hosts and everything. But my friend was saying, man, we get the experience about playing in Mumbai, because we might play in finals, or we might know the grounds and the dynamics and everything. And one important thing, just going before the World Cup, Sangakkara just dropped a bomb saying like, we are not having any so-called home advantage, because the Premadasa ground was closed for renovation for a long time. So we didn't play anything substantial there. So you can't expect us to have a big home advantage. So from there, like, we are scraping through the first match we played against Canada, we beat them, and then Pakistan we had a loss. Australia we had a washout. So we were not much challenged by big teams. I think the proper challenge we actually got from the New Zealand in the Mumbai, and then you come to quarters, and then you find England. Of course, like as you said, England was playing like one or two notches brand down from every other main cricketing team at that time. And because that game was very special, because Dilshan opened the bowling. No one expected Dilshan to open the bowling with a new ball, because the spinners opening new ball at that time was like very rare thing. And then and Sri Lanka dropped so much catches. If you see, like, Murali was scolding them like this, because for dropping few catches. I think they dropped Owen Morgan, they dropped Trott, I think. So they were very clumsy in the fielding. But in the batting, they just came up and they were like, playing like it's a dream. They were like batting. And I think, but I was thinking about that famous victory, the whitewash we had in England, the last match. Tharanga and Jayasuriya outplayed them, and they set a record at the time for opening partnership
Chase,
in
right?
England.
That was
Yeah,
2006
Chase.
or what was that? 2006,
Yeah,
right?
2006. So I remember that this game was like that, because we have been hammering England left, right, and center, and like, so because it kind of brought a lot of momentum, and Sri Lanka's batting was like on a different level those days, because Dilshan was at peak, Sangha was at peak, Mahela, Tharanga, and then even Chamra Silva and Tilang Samravira all could chip in at any given time. So it was a fantastic atmosphere, and like as you said, it's a home World Cup, beating England in quarterfinal, hammering England at quarterfinal. You said like, oh, the stars seems to be aligned for us. At that time, we thought like that.
Right, right. I think it's a lovely feeling to see, because I thought as a Sri Lankan fan, you might connect back to the year in 1996 when you won that World Cup, and it looked like it's very similar, because Sri Lanka beat England in the
Yeah, yeah.
quarterfinal. And my thing was, I didn't want to come anywhere near playing Sri Lanka in a semi-final, because we have a lot of scars and memories back from 1996, having lost to Arvind de Silva. So, but yeah, I think India, they ended up playing Pakistan in Mohali, and even that, I kind of felt Pakistan was a fairly strong unit.
Yeah,
And
they were very strong.
but for Umran Akmal's stupidity in trying to be very aggressive with Harbhajan Singh, they could have won that game. Because Pakistan, I always have a lot of respect for the Pakistani sides of those eras. For some reason, they would try to, act as if they were bigger than they wanted to somehow show. It's like it's not enough if they are bigger than the Indian team, but they had to show. And while they go out to show, they end up doing something stupid. Like Ahmed Sohail did that in 1992. He did that again in 1996, but people remember only 1996. The
Yeah.
game was theirs to win. So to me, I find it actually surprising when the Mocha ads come on, because Pakistan was an inherently superior side to India back then. But by 2011, India was starting to become that better side. Because in
Yeah, yeah.
2009, I remember India had lost to Pakistan in South Africa when we went for the Champions, what do you call, the ICC Knockout Trophy, or the Champions Trophy. But and we had lost twice, I think, in 2004 and 2009 to Pakistan in the Champions Trophy. Here was an ICC event, and 2007 we thought we were going to play them. We never played them. Bangladesh and Ireland instead played that game instead of India and Pakistan. But yeah, I think it was quite the memory. But when that final started, Hindustan, what was going through your mind in the first hour? Zahir Khan bowled three
I
straight
mean,
maiden.
for some time I couldn't believe what happened in the toss. Right,
Yeah, I also
Sangakkara
wondered.
said he call, and Dhoni said he call, and the referee couldn't hear it because people were, and I was like, the heart was so because at that time it's like because we never know this due and everything because going to come, right. And at that time, I wanted Sri Lanka to win the toss and put some good total on the board because that's a way in a final you can think about giving some pressure to India. So that's how Sri Lanka normally win. So I want them to win. So I think they put the toss twice, right? So I was just seated there and what the hell is happening here? And then finally Sangha won. I think MS was not much happy about all these things because he said first time he call it, and Sangha said I also call it, and then there were some issues. And then
Right.
we started betting, and Zahir Khan came in. Like at that time, I honestly didn't realize the worth of the Zahir Khan spell because Sri Lanka's top over scoring bulk of the runs. Unless for Zahir Khan, they would have definitely crossed 300, maybe even like they would have gone for another good 20, 30 runs, maybe 300 runs in a psychological way. It would have been played different way. We never know that. But
Right.
it was like when I still vividly remember when Dilshan got out in a very unfortunate way. The entire Indian players were like jumping. I think Yuvraj's ball he got out. So entire Indian players were like jumping, and even MSD who was normally don't celebrate much. He was so excited when the ball hit the wicket. So I knew that at that point. Oh my God! Because this is getting tougher for us. And then I think we had a mini collapse. Samaravira got out, and Chamara Kapugedra got out immediately. So the first hour was like so much adrenaline pumping, and I'm saying that okay, this is it. And the one funny note, we had a president back then, and every time he goes and watch a match, we lose it. And I hope and pray that he doesn't turn up for the match. Yeah, just after the first hour, I think when we were batting 12 overs, 43 or something, they showed the VIP box. He's seated there. I said, like, okay, now we have to break this jinx as well, right? So why these things happen to me in a World Cup final? So it was a roller coaster day, to be honest.
Right. In fact, for a lot of Indian fans, we ended up seeing another character in the crowd, and we're like, "Are if Rajinikanth has made it to the stadium, then India can't lose. தலைவர் வந்திருக்காரு, so match தோக்க முடியாது." So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember.
I know, because he had some health issues after eating somewhere the World Cup final, right? But he was in Singapore, and also there was a lot of drama going on, and he was admitted in India, and then he was flown to Singapore, and so I remember that. I saw him there. There.
Yeah, I remember Dhanush tweeting about it, saying Talaivar is fine or something like that at that point of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. Because he was hospitalized after eating somewhere. Something triggered some allergic, and I remember that. And so many Bollywood celebrities also were there.
Right. In between, I tried sharing my screen. Did the photos come about here of the World Cup
No,
final, or it
no,
did not come? It didn't come.
no.
Okay, okay. But yeah, I think now going back to that wicket, I thought that Zahir over he got Upul Taranga on, and then there were like these 2, 3 maiden overs. I thought that basically took away whatever momentum Sri Lanka could have run with, because despite having a fairly slow start, Sri Lanka still managed to score 274. Now, at which point in what was your thoughts at different points in the innings? Because for me, I think the when Tilan Samaravira was kind of batting, I thought Sri Lanka had about 12 overs to go at that point. 38 overs, they had scored about 180 or so. I thought they could, you know, in that World Cup, somehow the last 10 overs you weren't able to very easily score runs because you had this thing about the batting power play being used in overs 35 to 40 or whenever you could schedule your batting power play. So last 10 overs with the old ball runs were slightly hard to come by. The only game I remember runs coming very easily was the New Zealand-Pakistan game where Shoaib Akhtar had his career ending, and Ross Taylor basically ended his career, scoring 92 of the last 4 overs in Palekele. And But yeah, that's the only time I remember in that World Cup where teams feasted in the last 10. But at 179 for three after 38 overs, what were you thinking? Like, did you think that a 260 is good enough to challenge India? 260, I think India had to chase that much versus Pakistan. I think they gave Pakistan that target in the semi-final and it wasn't chased. What did you think at that point of time, going by the matches that you had seen in India?
If I had to say, like, because I wanted as much runs as possible, right? So anything which comes very close to 300 will give you a lot of edge. And when Samaravira was batting, I know that Mahela was set for a for a big finish because pretty much like he played in the 2007 World Cup semi-final against New Zealand. He started very slowly, but he scored heavily at the last moment. So I know that as long as he stays there, we have hope. Then all of a sudden, like as you said, that was a period where I believed like, okay, so we are going well. Okay, we might get well past 250 at that time. And then Samaravira got a review, right? Umpire didn't give. Then Yuvraj went for the review, and the review actually got the DRS got Samaravira out. Then immediately Chamara Kapukethra came and he did some funny thing and he just got out. And that point, I was started panicking a lot because Sri Lanka doesn't have much batting depth. It was Tissara Pereira, Nuwan Kulasekara, and then you open to the bowlers. So at that time, there's no one to give support to Mahela. I was like, oh my God, what's now happening? Is it going to be like this? But still, back of my mind, 2008 Asia Cup final was going on, where the one side the collapse was going on, but Sanath stayed there. He scored some runs, so we might do something there. So that time, again, like, it's a roller coaster ride. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? But thankfully, that last 3 overs, Tissara Pereira hit, I think, 2, 3 sixes, and Kulasagara also hit some boundaries, and Mahela got his 100, so it was very classy. And that brought this to the 96 vibe back, Sri Lankan batter, classy batter, right hander gets 100. So you feel like, okay, so we are there. So it's like, up and down and up and down. And I was so much emotions all over.
Right. 22 of 9 balls. And I remember that part where I think when he hit that 6, Nazar Hussain said, Sri Lanka believe. I was like, yaar, ye kya kar raha hai Nazar Hussain? I mean, did he actually think that Sri Lanka had a chance with after scoring 274? I got more scared after that. But Amit, a little quiz for you. When we were talking about, I was asking this question to Hindustan just now, right? 38th over, 180 odd.
Right.
You remember who bowled the 36th over for India in that final? It was a 6-run over.
I think if you're asking this question, it can't be some. I think was it Virat Kohli?
Yeah.
Because I remember he bowled 1 over, and you asked this question, so I don't remember which over it was, but I guess it was Virat Kohli. Because otherwise, you won't ask for Zahir Khan or Harbhajan Singh bowling a random over, right?
Right. And immediately the Vasily fan in.
So I told you, like we saw this in the Noddy. So I still remember the first few overs of Zahir, and I thought, okay, he's getting back his 2003, whatever he did wrong there, he's getting it right today. It was completely opposite spell of 2003, like totally correct. And I remember that Sehwag, I think Sehwag caught Tharanga or
correct. Caught Topal Tharanga.
Yeah, very good catch. So that time you believe like everyone is pumped down. Like you generally don't see Sehwag taking such catches, right? And after that, I think Sangakkara got out by Yuvraj, some unlucky dismissal which Dhoni caught, I think. So I think up till 180, which the scorecard you said, it was quite, I think I was in a good state, like we will restrict them to 240, 250. But this, as we discussed, the Pereira innings and Mahela, that 100 at the end took them to 275. And then I was scared, like, anyways, for Indian fans at that time, we were always scared, like we don't win anything, especially in the big matches. So you're always thinking, how will we lose? How will we lose this match? But yeah.
Right. And I think there's a stat that Santosh Udupa has just put. I think this stat was something that we all grew up with, saying that if you scored 100 in a World Cup final, your team always
win the match.
And you know something, until the World Cup final, none of Mahela's century ended up in losing cause. Yeah. That was the first time his century ended up in losing cause.
Yeah, sometimes some things have to happen in Bombay, right? Bombay has a history with a player scoring centuries and India losing. So
And also when we like I was young, no, like obviously you read such stats on CricBuzz or someone in the commentary used to say, and you used to get scared. Oh man, now we are losing or something like that. But then you realize like there have been 6 World Cup finals till then, so the sample set is so low that you can't say anything about these things. It's just like
I mean,
there might have
I
been
was
like six finals,
I
two
didn't
semis.
have any analytical mind back then. If something they say in commentary, I believe like, oh,
You just
okay,
believe it.
it's
Yeah,
going to be
exactly.
there.
That will be true.
I was like barely 20, 21 at that time, right?
So does that make you very cognizant, Hindustan, when you do commentary, like you do commentary for the Lanka Premier League? So are you very cognizant that whatever I'm saying could shape the next generation's thoughts on cricket? Do you sometimes think that way?
Yeah. Because I just really like, especially when the young fans who are like the Gen Zs, they don't like we saying Banindu Hasaranga didn't do this properly, or like, I don't even say like you can't even criticize as if like, what the hell he did that. So that was like, you have to put it in a very diplomatic way, and certain people doesn't like that even. So yeah, true. Certain things we just, I
You know,
believe like.
because you said that, I was asking that question because I have very briefly done Tamil commentary for one of the ICC channels for the 2022 World Cup, for a few India and a few non-India games. It's like it goes on YouTube, but it goes in an audio channel for a lot of people who don't have money to subscribe to a Geo Hotstar or something like that. They listen to it. And one pizza guy, in fact, put a comment saying, "Boss, I'm delivering pizza in Tambaram. Can you just tell the score? You guys are talking a lot." So that's when I realized the impact that my voice has, or whatever I'm talking, on somebody who doesn't have the money to go, otherwise buy that. But that's it.
It's always there. It's always there because I do this commentary for radio channels most of the time, right? So radio channels mean you have to paint the picture to the people. So sometimes like you have to say like you just for a bit you make a mistake long on to long off, they are going to think something really different, right? How can a right hand again hit something to long on now, or
Yeah.
from the offside? So these kind of things might come up. Yeah, obviously, like you have to, but I don't really dwell much into the stats and all these things. There are a few others who does this. I normally go with this caller, or I don't be the expert. I don't be the one. I normally go with the caller, or some other interesting facts that
Got
I
it.
just observe in the match.
Right. So lunchtime, or rather dinner break, 274 going back to the final. What was your thought, Amit? Did you think India had a chance? I was actually a little pensive. Every ball, I
Yeah.
would just be happy that we didn't get out. I don't know. For me, I think because of the scars of the 80s and 90s, right? You never quite thought or believed that, man, we could actually go win a home World Cup. As much as the pressure was there
Exactly.
saying we'll do it for Tendulkar and stuff like that. What was going through your mind at that point?
So around like as I said, around 250, I was I think comfortable. But once they scored 275, 274, and that dialogue of Nasser Hussain, Sri Lanka believe, suddenly you get scared like oh something bad might happen. But then Sehwag, like one memory which I always had from that World Cup is that Sehwag scoring boundary of the first ball in almost I think every match. So I was like hopeful still. It was like 50-50 thing, but yeah. So we were in the Audi watching together, and then the first over, you know what happened. Sehwag gets out, and then it was like really, really tense. Everyone was very tense. We were still watching it, obviously, and then Sachin gets out. I think at 31 for 2, 31 for 1 we
Hold on,
were.
hold on,
And
hold on. Even with just like Virender Sehwag getting out, right? At that point, I instantly knew he was out. My bigger worry was Sehwag
yeah,
shouldn't use up the review, because Sehwag is like mere liye ek review. He has that
Sehwag
very
की review hai. That is Sehwag always like that.
uh, so, and I think that's what he did. It looked plump. It looked like hitting middle of middle that ball from Malinga, and Sehwag, went for the review, and we lost the review.
Yeah. He
But
didn't even consult anyone. He just did this. He didn't even consult anyone or like even thought about it.
So with Sehwag going at that point of time, I kind of felt that okay, we still have the batting. It's not like Sehwag. I know we could have, it would have been good to have a Sehwag start. And Sachin, I think, had a couple of beautiful straight drives of
Yeah,
Nuwan
very beautiful.
Kulsundara.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, Sachin is getting into form. Maybe that 100th 100 is around the corner. And I said, okay, let me not distract myself with this 100th 100, because the last time I did that, It was painful watching Sachin Tendulkar getting dropped 6 times on his way to an 80 odd, and then
Yeah,
not getting
very
to the
painful.
100th. And even in the previous game, the last league game in Chennai, everybody was waiting for Sachin's 100th, and he got out very quickly of Ravi Rampal. So I was like, okay, let me not have that pressure. Let me just watch him play Malinga and Kulasekara. And then suddenly, there one ball gets the outside edge, and Sangakkara holds on to it. I think the way Malinga ran and the way Sri Lanka celebrated, to me, it resembled the way
Yeah,
Kaluvitarana and Jayasuriya celebrated when Sachin Tendulkar was out in the 1996 World Cup
semi-final.
and semi-final. And I was like, damn, are we again going to lose to Sri Lanka? We can't do this now. We've come back now. That was a semi-final. This is a final. And but I didn't give up hope. At that point, I did give up hope because Tendulkar was India. Here, I knew that we had a decent side that could bat till
I
about
was not
7
that
years.
smart that time. I just gave up hope. So what happened to me was, as soon as Sachin got out, I thought it's over. I can't watch it in that. So I'm a very nervous watcher. I think you must have known that when we watch some big matches. So then once Sachin got out, I said I can't watch this in the group now. So as I told you, na, we were screening in the Audi. So there were some hostels which had common rooms and a TV put there.
Right.
But everyone in the college was in the Audi, so no one was in the common room. I just went to some random hostel where no one knew me. There were like some 5 people sitting in that common room watching the match. Maybe not even that. I just sat in the corner. I didn't know anyone. No one knew me in that hostel, and I said I will not just talk. And I just crossed my fingers and watched every ball.
Was that the
Every ball.
ladies' hostel?
No. I was,
Good question. Good question.
He's like, nobody knew me
Yeah.
there. And
I was
that,
like so
I was like,
early. So I went to some. I was in fourth year. I went to some freshers like first year college hostel.
right.
And very nervously I watched each and every ball, but I watched every match. But I just didn't want to be in between any friends or anything. I just wanted to watch it alone. But yeah, it
Right.
was a very very nervous watch for the next, I think, 20-25 overs.
Until then Virat Kohli
I
came
think
on.
that Kohli,
I
yeah,
thought-
Kohli played a very good knock for that, for being a very youngster that time, and obviously Gambhir played a
I think it
superb
calmed the nerves because by the
Yeah.
time Kohli got out to that amazing reflex catch by Dilshan,
catch.
35 of some 50 balls, even though it's like a
Yeah.
strike rate of 70 or something for the times. I think
But
what
we
it did
needed
is it calmed the nerves. India were 100 odd for two, little less than 5 and over at that point. I don't know the exact score. I think 114 for two in the 22nd over. And they were going at
114.
around 5 and over, little above 5. And because the required run rate is 5.5 with 275 to get, you're still at 5 and over. So it doesn't mean that you have like a lot to catch up. So if you go at the current rate, maybe when you hit the 40th over, you'd run a ball plus maybe 10-20 more. So which is not too much, is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't feel the pressure.
I
And
think
that's
Dew
when I
also
think-
played a very important part. That time I was not that, like, didn't follow that strongly, that I knew about the Dews and all those things. But I think in the hindsight, Dew also helped India a lot after a certain point.
No, it did, but I think while Dew was there, that was the era where people still used to lose matches chasing in Dew. I don't
That
think
is true.
people realize the value, because I remember India losing to Pakistan in 2007 in Mohali, 320 odd. That was when I understood that our bowling is not bad. It's just that the Dew comes in, and even if India had kind of batted second, we might have chased. So that
Right.
was my understanding of Dew. But somehow in the 2000 ICC, what they do is they do something to neutralize a lot of things during a World
Yeah.
Cup, except the 2021 World Cup, which was I think very badly affected by Dew in the United Arab
Dubai.
Emirates.
Yeah.
And the only team that lost despite the Dew advantage was Sri Lanka. Sorry, Hindustan. Sri Lanka played England, and I think I remember Angelo Matthews or somebody. I think I don't know, not Angelo, but yeah, England basically batted first, and Sri Lanka couldn't chase that particular target. But that
Oh
said,
no, I remember. I remember that match because vividly remember because Owen Morgan came and said like there was a young Sri Lankan cricket team. Angelo and all were dropped at that time. Only like Hasaranga and Nisanka and all just walk into the team. It's like first time we felt the pressure when we were batting because Sri Lanka was bowling very well. I remember that match.
So yeah, I think the Dew was, I think, the only ICC tournament that I remember really affected by Dew was 2021. But in that game when Dhoni was starting to come, I didn't expect Dhoni to come in at 5. I actually
Yeah.
thought Dhoni would come in at 6 only. It was a surprise to see him and not Yuvraj come in.
Yeah.
Could be a left hand, right hand thing, or just Dhoni's instinct, as we've seen in the Dhoni movie, saying, "Hey Gary, I'm going." Uh, but but yeah, I think the way Dhoni handled Muthaiya Muralidharan was definitely praiseworthy. Having
I think
played
I read
him,
it somewhere that Sachin suggested this to Gary, and then Gary asked Dhoni, and he was fine to go. I don't know how true it is, but I read it somewhere. I think.
yeah, I think the only way we'll know that is by. I'm just hoping we run into MS Dhoni on one of our trips to Ranchi, and we're just chilling and having lassi with him in some charpai somewhere, when where people don't recognize him and we recognize. But yes, that's just a flight of
I don't
fancy.
think even at that time he will open up and say, because he's such a type of person. I'm sure that he might not really
No, I always
open
have
up.
this
And
fantasy that I will find cricketers somehow in the most like I have this fantasy that I will meet Sunny Leone somewhere and not discuss anything porn with her, but discuss only parenting with Sunny Leone. Similarly, with Sachin, I will discuss something which is what is Konkan or Maharashtrian cuisine that I should, tap. And I will tell him that these are the beaches that you can potentially drive through and go. I picturize myself having these conversations and not talking anything cricket. But yeah, it's just like
you should start a podcast with them. You should start a podcast with him, bring them, and people expect you to ask these kind of questions, but you ask something else instead of that. I
yeah.
mean, it's a good idea though. It's a good idea though. Who would have just thought
No, because
about it?
I genuinely feel Sunny Leone is so much more than the few clips that
I think your
we
mom
know
is
her
sitting
for.
behind. You know that, right, Karthik? Your mom is sitting behind.
Yeah, I think she's used to seeing me for like 40 odd years, so she knows when I cross the line and when I speak. So that's
She
fine.
must be thinking, are they talking cricket or what?
Yeah,
Yeah, is it a cricket podcast or something?
yeah, she must be thinking, where does Sunny Leone feature in the 2011 World Cup final scorecard? So does she have a
I
cricket
remember
book or
that
fight
there
book?
was some, I forgot the name, who said she will get naked if India wins the finals. I
That
think
was
during
Poonam.
Poonam
What an
Pandey.
important part, right? Poonam Pandey. I think how did we
Poonam
miss
Pandey.
that?
Right,
Because
right, right,
India's
right.
World Cup victory cannot be, it's no, it is. It's such an important thing that I remember I was actually tweeting back then like an idiot back then saying, "Hey, now that India's won, I think
When
Poonam
I going
Pandey."
to do? When I going to do that? You asked.
No, I just put it on Twitter at that point saying, "Hey, now that India has won the semi-final, maybe Poonam Pandey will have to take this a little more seriously." And
Okay, thank
a
God.
lot of
Okay, you stopped at that point.
Yeah, I think I was the same guy there. No filters mode. Just put things out there, and it's like
No,
how you
no. I
talk
mean,
about.
there's
Hmm.
yeah,
So yeah,
true,
I think
true.
at that point I was actually that was like an incentive to watch. But my only question is, I could not know where to go find World Cup tickets. Where will I go find Poonam Pandey? Is it Google that will help me discover where Poonam Pandey is going to, bear for India? But yes, talking about the World Cup final, I think when Dhoni came in, I was just happy to see Dhoni and Gambhir bat. I don't think they ever looked able to very easily score
Yeah,
boundaries,
yeah.
and even against Muralidharan, right? He would bowl round the wicket, he would bowl, and Dhoni would, move and create room outside the off stump and then cut him. It looked like India were fairly comfortable, and
I
they
think
had
for the first one over, Dhoni was very tentative. After that, it became, I think, very, very easy for him. That balls was very tentative, and there were few plays and misses and few close calls. But yeah, after that, it was. I think that was a very
yeah,
smart call in the sense that Dhoni, other than Dhoni, Raina, Yuvraj, and Gambhir were all lefties, right? So I think it
right.
made a lot of sense that to send Dhoni and have a right-left combo with Muralidharan being on.
Yeah, and the whole point with Dhoni also was he did not have a great tournament till then. From
Right,
whatever I
right.
remember, he did not score big in any of the games. He got out fairly quickly. And my only worry was, hey, when Gambhir got out, I remember Shastri said there on commentary saying it's a needless shot. He was on 97, and Gambhir, rushed down the track, got way outside leg, and then went for that
Yeah.
slog. I he didn't need to do it, but whatever it is, I think under pressure, Gambhir scored those 97 runs rather than the 3 runs that he missed. But he couldn't really shut the game completely. But he's given them that whiff of an opportunity. But I think that was where I think Dhoni made sure that even with Yuvraj coming in, I remember the first ball that Yuvraj came, Tissera Pereira. tried to bowl a swinging full toss because that's how Yuvraj Singh was taken by surprise in the semi-final at Mohali,
Right,
where I
right.
think Wahab Riaz bowled this full toss in swinging full toss
He
to
got bold,
Yuvraj.
yeah. Right,
He
right.
got bowled, and Tisera tried the same. But Yuvraj basically just I think pushed it to the offside, no runs. But I think there was a little bit of tension for me as a fan when Gambhir got out, saying, "Man, is it possible that we could collapse here?" But I think the more and more I saw Dhoni, I think that we easy at that 40th or 41st over, we
I think,
lost
yeah,
the
we were almost, once Gambhir got out, we was in a very good position by that time, I think.
and we were scoring, I think, a boundary or a six, I think, once every
Right.
2 overs. Without, I don't think we were even looking to, be flustered. So by the time I think the 46th over came, India from the 42nd to the 46th over, they didn't score a lot of runs from what I remember. They just absorbed the pressure. If you remember the last 4 overs, we required something like
20,
22
25
or
or 26, something.
26 runs required. And I think India, I don't know if they took the batting power play then, but at that point, Dhoni again took that game to the end because it was very unlikely that you'd play 42nd, 43rd, 44th overs, score 3 runs, 4 runs of those overs. But India said, okay, fine, let's, get some bat on ball and let's take it to the deep end. And Sri Lanka anyway succumbed because I remember the 47th over with Kulasekara bowled. That was the over. I think suddenly Dhoni got like a couple of boundaries. It was a full toss that Kulasekara bowled to Yuvraj, and Yuvraj I think hit it towards mid wicket for a boundary, and then Dhoni hit a shot towards mid off, and I think that basically killed the game. The 47th over got some 10, 11 runs, and
Yeah.
at that point I think I never felt okay. Now India will not win. I think it is only a question of okay, when will
Then,
this happen?
yeah.
Because Sri Lanka did not test India at all. They were at that point just trying to, bowl very defensive lines, and they weren't really attacking. And
And I think I think Angelo Matthews got injured just in the semi-finals, and Suraj Randeep came for the finals, right? I think
Yeah,
that.
so
I think Sri Lanka
initially he
blew.
was
Yeah, Randeep
they
came.
they had a plan about using Dilhara Fernando there because he played for Mumbai Indians as well. He knows the ground
Right.
and he's tall and he could extract some bounce and he will be handy. So Dilhara Fernando was on the plan. Then Angelo Matthews got out, so they had to bring in Suraj Randeep in. So they made some changes at the last minute because of Angelo's injury. It just
Whenever I
created
hear
something.
the name Dilara Fernando, I remember that 2007 when he bowled
Bold,
Sachin.
inside edge. Yeah.
See, those are one of the very few rarest good deliveries that he bowled on those days. Like even we don't trust him very much, and he used to bowl so many no balls. So when the T20 World Cup started, I was really dead scared of him because if he bowled a no ball and give a free hit, that would have been the end of the story. He used to bowl a lot because he used to overstep because his run up is he's very tall and his run up, and he used to bowl a lot of no balls. And I think I remember in the 2007 semi-final, he bowled 12 balls over or something like against Gaptillo. I forgot, like against New Zealand, he bowled a very long over. So, and he
You're
played the
talking about the
2007
2007 Cricket World Cup
Cricket
semi-final.
World Cup semi-final. He bowled a
Oh,
very,
sorry.
very lengthy over.
My World Cup ended on March 23rd, 2007. I don't
I'm
remember anything
sorry.
in the Super
I'm
6 match.
sorry. I'm sorry. That was not intentional, but like we didn't have any other choice other than we didn't actually wanted to defeat you guys to go out of the way or something like that. We actually wanted to play good and get inside, and things didn't happen, and it's your mistake you lost to Bangladesh. It's not our mistake, right?
Yeah, man, it was a very, very odd World Cup for India back then. But I think I love the way India bounced back. And they, with Gary Kirsten, were able to build that team. And talking about Gary Kirsten, Mirav mentions that, of course, in the movie, Gary said that Dhoni decided to go before UV. And he's saying, if it's in the movie, it must be true. So, like a sarcastic comment of sorts. But yes, I think once that 48th, 49th over came, I think it was just about now, when is this going to happen? So I think I was fairly certain that India was about to win. And most of that fear kind of went away after the 46th over. That was what I remember seeing the game back then.
Right.
And at that moment, I was just thinking, what would it be to be in Wankhede that night or just be on the roads? because I was asking myself, what if I got a ticket and I could go there, or I couldn't go there, but I know I couldn't find a ticket. I was like, I'd still be part of the victory parade if these guys were out on the roads. It's still going to be like a an amazing night. And I heard it was like there was a big traffic jam. I don't know if anybody in the audience who's listening to us was in Mumbai or in Wankhede that night. What were your reactions? Please do comment. The thing you can comment on the Cow Corner pod on Cow Corner Dugout on YouTube, where this is being streamed apart from X. But yeah, I think that would have been amazing. But of course, without a guarantee of a ticket, I wouldn't go all the way there. I was a less risk-taking person. Of course, after meeting all you friends, we travel a lot together for cricket now. So I don't think we ever have a problem if a match ticket is going on. So the
Is
CSK
that the
RCB game,
reason? Yes, is that the reason that for you to start long rope army? Is that like, okay, I missed this World Cup, hereafter I'm not going to miss any World Cup. Let me bring
it was
everyone.
in fact the way long rope army was started is it is basically my Harsha Bhogle in fact says that the broadcasters were stuck in traffic for 6 hours. So wow, and 6 hour traffic jam, that's like the whole of India converging. What a moment it must have been. Where was I was basically talking, I don't know, where was I talking?
About the
No, you were
tickets.
talking about cricket. Tickets,
In-
tickets, tickets.
Tickets. I think it started with my college juniors. A few of them said, let's go for the CSK IPL final, the 2023 one. And it was the first time I bought a 6,000 rupee ticket, which is Southwest Premium. And I was like, damn, that's really expensive. And I'm spending 10,000 to go to Ahmedabad from Chennai. Happened to be in Chennai that day and I booked it.
I think it's nice that you went. No, you might have seen last time CSK winning an IPL.
Yeah.
Mm,
What a night it was.
that's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't make any comment on that.
It
No,
might
no,
be a
this
very.
time I think that was the last time. Yeah, of course, the last time CSK won. But I
I
think
mean, the last time CSK won the IPL. I'm not saying last time they will win the IPL.
right.
Okay,
I think the
okay,
next time
okay.
CSK will win the IPL will probably be May 31st when Dhoni will be part of that winning team. He's right now
Oh,
injured.
sorry.
I know with a 10th
That's not gonna
position,
happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. We are coming for it. Like Kamala Harris said in the president, we are coming for it. We are coming for it. Sorry about it.
Well, yeah, it's good to see you guys back. We really missed you. But going by trends, right? Mumbai is 10th Q2, 10th Q2. So you know what's coming up next. So I know you got a good
So
hit run rate.
I mean, see, just now we are talking in a podcast about how India kind of like reversed all these trends. If India can do that in Mumbai, why can't another
Mumbai
blue
Indians
team
can.
based on Mumbai can do that?
Oh, if India can do it in Mumbai, then Mumbai Indians can do it. I thought you'd play a pun on that.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, the Mumbai Indians, there's part of India there in their name as well. They can do it too.
Don't fight, guys. It will be CSK versus MI finals. Don't worry. You both.
We are happy about it. We know how those things end up. Amit, we are happy
Yeah.
about it. We know how those things end up.
Yeah.
Used to end up, and as you said, things keep reversing. It's time for CSK to beat MI in a cup final after 2010.
Let's see.
But yeah, let's
Let's see.
move away from. but,
What? Your teeth came out. What did come out?
no, I bit something, and no, yeah, I have a.
I thought
have
his
a
teeth
tooth
came out.
extraction. No, there are tooth extraction.
Yeah, you extracted. So the viewers doesn't know that he extracted the teeth. So one, right? Last week.
I extracted a tooth last week, and it's paining a lot. And I have a temporary tooth that's kind
So
of.
you can.
there.
Everyone can know how old Karthik is. He's in the phase of extracting. his
He just confessed that 40 years or something. I mean, if you could, for the viewers who want to know how old he is, go back and rewatch this podcast. In the beginning, he told how old he when he was watching the World Cup, when he was working in Chennai. So he put that out.
Thanks, Hindustan. That's going to increase the watch time of people watching the video if they're going to go and watch 10 minutes of the video there. Yeah, I think I'm going through. It's like once the extraction is done, they will have to check for root canal and stuff. So it is given like an observation period. So you have to put something temporary filling of that, and that just suddenly came off because I was speaking with a lot of emotion.
Got it.
So yeah, I think that said, it must have been amazing to be in Mumbai that night. And Hindustan, what were you thinking as a Sri Lankan fan? Yet so close so far, or at which point watching the game while during India was batting, did you think you had a chance, and did you think you had no chance now?
I mean, I personally believe because see, from my childhood, I watched Tendulkar playing against Sri Lanka. So this is very honest confession, right? Say like we are defending 220 against India. I will be focused about how we are going to get 9 wickets for 120. Anyway, Tendulkar is going to score a century. No point of worrying about it, right? So that was honestly my calculation. So when my we finished 275, I was like, okay, can we take 109 wickets for 175? Given that it's Tendulkar's home ground, he's going to score a century and all. When he got out, my goodness, I was pretty much the Sri Lankan team at that time, and I was jumping all over. I had belief that we can get that wicket, and pretty much according to the plan that Gambhir's catch was dropped because there was an attempt to get
Yeah,
Gambhir,
that was a very
and
important turning point.
yeah, so that's when Kulasegara fumbled it. That's where the first thing. And then there was a run out chance. It's very difficult that, on Sangakkara's end that Gambhir dives it. Still, he still have that, muddy jersey there.
Surf excel
So,
me.
yeah. So, and that point, even when Virat Kohli got out, I thought, okay, so we'll try something, we'll do something. If what if we can get him out or something like. But ever since Dhoni came and he started playing with ease and all, so then I understood, okay, this is now getting tougher. What we can do at that time, who is going to be the wicket taker for us? Because all the main one was like Malinga and Murali, and mind you, Murali was playing with an injury. He had a groin strain or something, or hamstring or something after the semi-final. So he didn't. The Sri Lankan players were trying to lift him, and they were about to go walk around the stadium, but he refused it. He said, "I have a one more game to play." So they just lifted him, and they took some pictures and dropped him down. So he was playing with that, and I know that. But he's a fighter that he will give his 100%. So at that point, I realized, okay, slowly this is, oh my God, slowly this is going away because this is one World Cup. I had a lot of hopes, and it was so gloom for I think at least a week for me. Thinking about there's so many scenarios. What if we lost the toss and we chase sometimes? What we will there be a chance during the due for us to chase it because Sri Lanka's top four was like firing very much at that time. What would have been the other way? What would have been if like they hold on to that Kule or hold on to that chance? What would have been? So these kind of scenarios are like playing in my mind for like at least a week, I would say, and it took a lot of time for me to come out of this loss. If I look back, my entire cricket fan career, if anything which hurt me very badly, there is only three. One is this 2012 against in Sri Lanka in our home, we lost to West Indies, and the 2019 one was because it happened on my birthday as well. So these three incidents, like I still couldn't come to a term, say like okay, I know that there are things like where your brain says heart contradicts. I would say like even my best friend who used to say like it was not meant for us, it was not written for us. Yeah, fine, but like I'm like I couldn't accept the fact that but has happened, especially after removing Tendulkar. Because back then Kohli was like yeah, he's coming up, but Tendulkar is Tendulkar. I mean, if you can remove Tendulkar that early, you seriously had a chance.
Well, the question here: did you all lose hope? Not me. I think I kind of still felt that India has a fairly deep batting lineup, and we've seen even in the Pakistan game from 160, 170 odd for five, even an Australia game, right? When Dhoni got out, I think we were 190 for five. We were able to get to 260
Yeah,
and
I
chase
think
that.
I didn't lose hope, but definitely up till that moment, it was never that I thought we are less than 50%. But I think after Sachin got out, I thought now Sri Lanka are the favorites. Up till the partnership with Kohli, but I think that time I thought we are now the Sri Lanka
Yeah,
is the
so I
favorite.
mean that at that
Yeah.
time I also like thought like that. So I mean because that particular moment it was like because as you said, we all still stuck in this nostalgia 90s, right? We always thought like those players who we saw scoring a lot was really if you are correctly remember, in the first captain's presser, Ricky Ponting was the captain for Australia, and he said, "We are here to win another World Cup." I was like, "No shit, they are that confident." Because back then, Australia was not the Australia we saw in 2003 or 2007. They have lost many of the players, but those comments kind of like trigger you a lot because you feel like are they going to do again? So these are the things like we got through. So there was a lot of belief in me when we got Tendulkar out.
Right. And I think that Australia, I don't know if I know they lost to Pakistan in Hambantota or SSC in Colombo. That was the time I actually believed that Australia can actually be beaten because they lost, I think, for the first time in 30 odd games. They hadn't lost in a long while. I think they last lost either to Pakistan or to New Zealand in the '99 World Cup, and
Right.
it was like the spell had been it's gone. So you had the belief that you could potentially go beat Australia, but
Yeah.
before that, of course, you would look at Australia saying it even because in 2007 they lost 0-3 to New Zealand before the World Cup. It was a false dawn, and then they came beat the shit out of every other team. So yeah, I think I don't know, but between the 2011 and the 2007 and the 2011 World Cup, was Australia not the best team for that era? I thought India really did well in that era.
Yeah,
India
I
really
don't.
did well in that era because you all won the CB series final and all because
Yeah,
going to
exactly.
Australia. I think that particular season, maybe Sri Lanka won one of the final because in 2007 or 2008, Sri Lanka won one final.
So that is the series. I
And
mean, you're
then,
just looking at that one or two series, but I think if you look at
yeah,
the between the 2007 World Cup and I just pulled up these numbers, so it
no, I
looks
mean,
like sorry.
no, because as 90s kids, like, we don't see Australia lose this kind of stuff. So when they lose,
Right.
you understand that somebody else better than them. So that's what I was trying to say.
So I think it was a one-off loss because I just looked at the record. Australia played 90 ODIs and won almost 60 of them. So that's like a win-loss ratio of 59 of them and lost 25. So win to loss ratio is 2.36, which was the highest. The next highest going into that World Cup cycle was South Africa. They had a win-loss ratio of 1.90. The third was India with a win-loss ratio of 1.8. So when two of these big sides go away, like Australia and South Africa, I think lost in
New
2011 to
Zealand,
New Zealand maybe
New Zealand,
in
quarterfinal.
Dhaka or Chittagong. They just collapsed in a chase, and so South Africa would just be consumed in the most innocuous manner. That
Yeah.
come an ICC tournament, they'll find some way to lose. And Australia lost to India. So I think that basically also increased the confidence. It's not like the Asian sides were a walkover, but the win-loss ratio of some of these sides weren't really up to the mark. Sri Lanka and Pakistan had a similar win-loss ratio of about 1.1, and England, New Zealand were barely there, so they were like very very low. They didn't have a great
But
cycle in between that.
And I think bilaterals, I don't remember during that time, but bilaterals play generally very different to what happens in ICC tournaments because no one is playing their best team. So you generally see very different bilateral results compared to maybe not in that
No, see,
not in that
in
era,
that
but
era,
maybe not in
you
that
didn't
era.
have IPL. You didn't have. I
Right,
mean, in
right,
2007, you didn't have T20s so much. T20s were
right.
played only during the World Cups.
no,
Exactly.
You
back
didn't
then
have a.
bilaterals were a big deal. Bilaterals
Of
were a
course,
big
that's what
deal.
I was saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say because there is something which I have to accept it. India had a hard way coming to the final when compared to Sri Lanka because New Zealand and England were not up to the mark when compared to Australia and Pakistan. So like it's just a what to call it
Yeah, the
as
confidence level
India
that you
was
have
test
when you
yeah,
beat a
and
side like
India was
that is
tested
far more.
hard. India was tested hard in that time when compared to Sri Lanka at that time. So those kind of factors also you need to consider it. I mean, if you detach yourself from this die-hard fan aspect and just coming back, yeah. So and Sri Lanka made some serious changes just before the final. So these kind of things doesn't really reflect
Right.
as a really good team.
I thought they also got Chaminda Vas for the finals, right? Out of retirement. Was
There
that
was there were so many rumors because Sanad at that time, like Sanad said, if he can play, why can't I play? Because it was told by Sanad, Samin Davas himself in a singular podcast that he was supposed to come and he even submitted the passport for visa and Aravinda said it's really, and then things getting out of the hand. Back then, Sanath was part of the government. He was an MB or something like that. And then Aravinda said, no, 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 we are not taking anyone inside because this is getting tougher. So we will find it from the replacement list. I don't know the truth, but this was told by Chamin Devas in a podcast.
Right, right. And it's interesting. Sanath Jayasuriya was a minister, or was holding some position, and then came back for the England tour in 2011 for one game and played his last game, and then went off. But yes, I think sometimes
It
things
looks
are.
like that his last phase was like, he was misguided by people who were around him, and also there was so much issues, which himself he told that he was misguided by people around him on an interview, because uh, since I know Singhala, I watch their interviews in Singhala as well, so they tend to kind of open up a lot with this thing.
Right. So yeah, I think we're 1 hour 5 minutes into the podcast. A big thank you to all the 54 people who stayed with us online concurrently at the same time. It's so nice to hear that a lot of you feel value with whatever we're talking, and you're able to relate to it. Your comments are, we got about 20-25 comments today. So thanks a lot for that. And we're at the end of this podcast. Any final memory or word of the 2011 World Cup, not just the final? If there was one wicket or one ball memory that you could, we'll have that as a parting note. Amit,
I'll just say two things. Like one which I wanted to say, but then it didn't come up. The theme song "De Ghumake." I think it was the
De
first time.
Ghumake.
There was the first time
Mm.
there was some like very
Shankar Mahadevan, right?
cheeky songs. There was that's why I remember that "De Ghumake." First time there was some theme song for the World Cup. As
Ade
far as
I
pede
don't know.
de
There was
Ghumake.
it started in 2007 because they had this. It's a game of love and unity. So they sang this. I think Shaggy and all sang that. I think it started in 2007, but it became a big deal in 2011.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think
And
with
I
India
think
winning the World Cup also, yeah,
yeah, true. India winning the World Cup made it even bigger. And I
I
think
think
still that
my
Yuvraj and Raina knock in that quarterfinals. I still think that one is the World Cup. That was, I think, when Dhoni got out, we were some 185 for six, I think, chasing 260. I
193 for 5 or something. Yeah, I know,
okay.
caught
So
Brett Lee catching.
I thought the game was gone, but I think the way Yuvraj and Raina played after that completely counter-attacked. And yeah, I
It's an
think that
important point.
I
The unheralded contribution of Raina in the quarterfinals and semifinals, because even in the
yeah, very
semi-final
very
when
big,
India
very big.
lost Wahab Riaz, Raina's knock provided us stability. It's like little less than run a ball, but I think it kept India to that point of safety. And those days, I don't think we were looking at maxing scores. We were happy scoring 250, 260s.
True.
So to me, I
I
think
would
the
say like
standout moment. Sorry, in the sun. Go ahead. Yeah.
I would say like my favorite memory was like Malinga taking another hat trick. So and I have one moment. I don't know you remember this or not. There was a catch attempt by New Zealand to Mahela, and then it was going to the third umpire, and there was, because back then New Zealand was like little bit sledging under McCallum, and so they were little not these Kane Williams, and I mean post McCallum's the nicest guys. So there was an argument going on, and Mahela was I heard it on the some mic. It should be the videos. If that was an out, I will be the first person to walk out. Walk out. It's not an out. Refer it. And there was some argument with Mahela, and the decision was not out, and he played for some time. So that was one memory which sticks with me.
That's interesting because I don't remember that match or moment. I may not have watched it with that much intent back then. But I think what I remember, the shot of the tournament was the pull that Sachin had of Dale's time. And I was like, wow, man, we're winning the World Cup now. Sachin is in this imperious form. How can we not win the World Cup?
I remember that Sachin of Caddick in 2003 World Cup. I
Similar,
think.
right? Ha, ha, ha. And it felt like that shot suddenly, woke up the World Cup for in 2003. We went all the way to the finals and then we got, walloped by Australia. So that shot again, it reminded me of the Caddick shot and suddenly in these one shot moments and good commentary on top, you think, oh man, I think the journey to the final is there. So there's that brief moment that was there, and then that night, whatever unfolded, I think it left a scar back then during the World Cup. Like, why did Ashish Nehra bowl that 50th over? Because I
Yeah.
think India lost that game versus South Africa at Jamta. But yeah, I think that was one standout moment for me that I remember in the 2011 World Cup. And the other moment that I remember was, I think, the way India came back when Collingwood and I think Andrew Strauss were batting in Bangalore. I think Zahir Khan got two
Very
quick
Khan
wickets.
came, yeah.
The energy in
That
the
reverse
whole
It was a
stadium.
tie, right? It
Reverse
was
It
a
was a
tie,
tie.
right?
It was a tie, and I was watching it in a pretty ugly stand, which is I think probably right now one of the side view stands. I don't think I ever even thought that I could get a straight view ticket until I met this whole group of guys who asked me to prioritize the straight view. But I would just buy whatever ticket back then was there. But even in Palekele or the Premadasa Stadium in 2012 when I traveled, I had side view tickets only, the grass bank tickets. So
You can
everything
come back to
changed.
Primitas. I'll take you to the B upper. It's a very straight view.
Yeah, I've now heard that that's a good view. I think twice there's been the
Yeah.
opportunity in the Asia Cup and
We'll come
the
to we'll
tournament
come to
that
the
happened.
Gaul test. Hopefully, there's a test match at Gaul, India versus Sri Lanka.
Test match in
There
Gaul.
will be.
It's a good
There will
time.
be.
It's a good time to combine a trip.
When
But
is
I
this
don't know
event?
whether it will happen in Gaul because if so many Indians are traveling, they might change it to somewhere else because to get ticket sales.
More
But I
money.
don't know whether it will be in
But I
Gaul.
think out of two, they can at least keep one in Gaul, right?
Yeah, one will be at Gaul, one will be at Colombo. I think Sri Lanka never hosted a day and night test, so there are talks going on because SSC
Oh,
they
nice.
recently put a stand lights and they want to have the day and night test in Sri Lanka. I don't know.
When do
Uh,
you think the schedule will be announced?
India might announce it before Sri Lanka ever does. SLC is a big mess. You can't expect those kind of things.
Okay. With that, I think we've come to a fair end of a great conversations. We've spoken about 70 odd minutes, and yeah, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Good night, and see you tomorrow night.
Good night,
See
guys.
you.
See
Good
you.
night.